is WL Hawkin. How are you?
Thank you. I'm really enjoying listening to all these different authors as we go through this. And I'm thinking, I've got that in common and that in common and that in common. Yeah.
My cup runneth over because that is my deal. So when I schedule out these whole things, I try to put every night of people that don't know each other or don't know each other very well. So then you meet other friends, right? And you network and you connect and you do all of these amazing things because I'm a firm believer in, supporting and everybody helping each other, right? So you nailed it. I love it, WO. You nailed it.
It's all good.
But tell us, what genre you write in and how long you've been a writer.
Right. Okay. So I really, I say what I write is myth, magic, and mayhem. So I'm a genre blender bender, and I write mystery thrillers, but my characters are witches. And so there's a little bit of magic in there. There's a lot of mythology in there. And so I have that. And then I also have a couple other things on the go as well.
I love it. So you just blended all kinds of things together. So what are the things you have on the go? Is it the same, similar blend of genres, or is it completely different?
It's different. So the first book I wrote, you're always asking, like, where did this start, right? So I first wrote a book when I was 30 and I was leaving my ex-husband and starting university. And I found that book a couple of years ago wrapped in brown paper, because Tosca will remember that that's how we used to copyright stuff, and we'd mail it to ourselves, right? Yeah. And so I found this when I was cleaning, again, down in the basement. Somebody else had that story, Randy. Yeah. And I read it and I'm like, oh, it's a romance. That's interesting. So I started rewriting it, and I got a few chapters into it, and then the woman found a hand in her shed of a missing Indigenous girl. And then that girl started talking to me. And so the whole story kind of morphed into something else, but I kept the original characters. So that book I just released last year. It's called Lure. So it's about a small town called Lure in Minnesota on the Chippewa Reservation. So that's one thing. It's romantic suspense, which has nothing to do with my other series.
Right. Okay. So you're dabbling in all kinds of stuff. I love it. I'm here for it. I have one client who is writing like 10 different books at the same time. When he gets like writer's block for one, he switches to the other. And that stressed me out and gave me such anxiety. Such anxiety. So you writing in different genres to me is just like, oh, it's an accomplishment. I love it.
I actually have that going on right now. So I'm writing book 5 in my Myth, Magic, and Mayhem series.
Okay.
And I'm taking a new course in creative nonfiction at Athabasca University. So I'm starting to write like memoir stuff and looking for my Indigenous ancestors. So I'm really going into that. And then I've got this other book that I wrote about when I was a lighthouse keeper for a while on the Pacific coast. And so I thought, this is a really great place for a mystery. So I kind of put all those lighthouses together and put some, I made it a kind of a mystery, but there's a paranormal element to it because the girl can see ghosts. So, so that's what I'm saying is it's still like I'm all over the map, right? But there's always something mythical and magical in there, and a mystery, because I love mystery.
So, okay. I'm jealous that you were a lighthouse keeper. That's like my ultimate like dream job. I don't even know if they I'm sure they still have them, so I'm not gonna say it. But like, I just find that to be like the coolest thing. And then the fact that you like tied in the whole ghost to it, I don't know why, but I feel like if you're a lighthouse keeper, you totally see ghosts.
So you do. They're up there. Yeah, for sure.
I'm here for it. Like I love that. And I think expanding and writing in different genres and stuff. Yep. See, Greg had me at Lighthouse. See, I'm not the only one. Lighthouses are just awesome. Awesome. My dogs are going off because my kids are coming back from a parade with my husband. But you correlate the two together, right? Ghosts and Lighthouse. It's just like, yes, I'm here for it. And I don't know, a part of me, I guess, is that's why I want to be a lighthouse keeper. So I need to come visit you because that would be so much fun for me. But I think expanding your skills and writing and all these different avenues, because you mentioned it, like you're all over the map, right?
Mhm.
But I think that keeps the creativity and your writing and stuff sharp, because you're always challenging yourselves in different avenues and different directions and stuff.
Mhm.
Sometimes at the same time, which is that gives me anxiety as bad as outlines. Like, I don't know if you guys like writing with outlines. I failed outlines in high school. That's probably why I'm traumatized and I don't write, but I don't know how you fail an outline, but I did, and it gives me
Mhm.
anxiety. So I'm fascinated by that. So what drew you to do, like, you have romance, suspense, and then you have your blend of a genre. So what drew you to those two? Those just things that you enjoy that you also like reading, or how did you kind of narrow down what you wanted to write in?
I write the kind of books I love to read. And that was it. It's like, if I can't find something that's interesting to read, I'm just going to write my own book. And I don't use outlines at all. But I'm really open spiritually. So I'm like, okay, guys, I'm here, whatever, who's got a story. And I just wait till they tap me on the shoulder and start talking to me. And I see movies. The first scene actually in the lure that I just put out, I dreamed it. And then I got up in the morning and I typed it on my Commodore 64, going back, but way back there, right, Tosca? Yeah. And we had to use code in those days. Anyway, yeah, and I still do that. That is my method. So I've actually written a book called From Spirit to Page, Writing with Your Muse. And I've taught those workshops, and because a lot of people say, oh, I have all these ideas, but I can't get them down. And so that's what we worked on, was how you get those words on the page. And so I write what I love. So my series, which is, I used to say it was urban fantasy with a twist of murder, but
Mhm.
then I was like, it actually, now there's thrillers in it, and there's always death. Yes. Okay. But it's, yeah. So anyway, I started writing that when I was an English high school teacher.
Mhm.
Yes, Commodore 64. Yeah, so I was a high school teacher, and I'm a super introvert, and which is why I have so many friends that are not in human bodies, and they just kind of have this world that I live in. And I was coming home and either lying on the couch and watching Big Bang Theory for 4 hours,
I love it.
right?
Mhm.
Um, yeah, or whatever. Like, I was losing my mind. So actually, that's why I became a lighthouse keeper. I took a year off because I was like, I gotta get out of this high school. But anyway, I joined the Coast Guard. But so that's how I started writing my series. Is I started coming home and I came up with this Wicca coven, and on weekends, holidays, I would just write all the time. And so the first one took me quite a long time, but I fell in love with the characters so much that they just like moved into my bedroom basically. And, I mean, they're there. So they're still there. I mean, they've been there like 12, 15 years now.
Yeah.
And, and everybody falls in love with my hero in the books because I love him. So that's kind of
Yeah.
how that happened. And then he gets into a lot of trouble. So
Well, I mean, we all get into trouble.
yeah.
We all do, for sure. But I love that if there wasn't something out there you wanted to read, you were going to write it. And I think
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that is, to me, that is the coolest thing. And it's really taking and like, okay, well, I've read this, I've read that. There's nothing like appealing. Because, like when you are streaming something, you just go through the Netflix and you're like, there is nothing that I want to watch. I can visually see you do this and you're like, well, you know what? I am going to write what I want to read. And
Yeah.
that's so empowering, but it really just shows like your creativity and your imagination, because you're just like, well, here we go. We're going to do it, instead of watching Big Bang Theory, which I am a Sheldon fan. So I love that show.
And
Um,
young Sheldon too.
yes, I need
Yes.
to get caught up on that for sure.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
behind. But
Yeah.
so you mentioned it took you a long time to write that first book in your series. So how long is a long time? Like 2 years? What's
Um,
the time for you?
yeah. Well, I mean, I had to go do a lot of research because, like Tosca was saying, I love prehistoric history. I don't love sci-fi because I hate the future. I'm all about the past, you know,
Okay.
except for time travel. But my time travel happens not in a normal sci-fi happen. My time travel happens because they conjure up the Celtic god Cernunnos and they demand that he take them, where they're going to go. So, which is prehistoric Ireland. So I did a lot of research in Ireland and Scotland, and so the first one is they're in Vancouver, and then they have to go following the serial killer to Ireland, and there's always standing stones, dolmens, all the Irish characters. The fairies are in there, and the second one they go to Scotland. Again, it's an archaeologist, so there's standing stones there, and one of the guys gets um, accused of murder, so they have to figure out the real murderer to get him out of jail. And the third
My
one,
goodness.
vampires. And the last one is the one I'm giving away.
Oh
Well,
my
not giving
goodness.
away. Not giving away. I've got it on discount. Yeah.
Right. Oh my goodness. That is insane. So did you have to do any research in like Ireland and stuff? Did you get to travel and go there? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna live
Yeah.
for you. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
gonna live
So
for you.
yeah, no, for the last one, which is the one that I'm putting up for winter solstice and the 12 days of Christmas for 199 as as an ebook, but actually it's $7 as a print book. This is like a really good deal, guys, for a paperback. $7 in the States. So that's great. Um, I did a lot of research because he is do you ever see those fists, the bog men that get dug out of the bog and they're kind of squished and they've been in the bog for 2,000 years?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, they're in National Geographic. Tosk is going, yeah, she's up on Bogman too. And so I saw this guy and I was like, oh my gosh, what happened here? I really want to know his story. And I started reading, and Dr. Eamon Kelly, who's an archaeologist at the National Museum in Ireland, had done this whole theory of ritual sacrifice of kings. So he's got a big exhibit in the National Museum of Ireland, Kingship and Sacrifice. So I had to go there. So I went there in 2017 by myself and stayed in Dublin alone. Don't do that. It's just not a good idea. I actually got lonely, and I know I don't normally as an introvert, but when you're in a big city like that, it's weird because everybody else is out there having their thing with their friends over the summer. I'm walking around going to the museum to sit with the torso of a bog man. So yeah, it was
Why?
interesting.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah, so I spent a lot of time doing research and going down into dusty library bins and finding things on Iron Age Ireland because we don't have a lot of information on Iron Age Ireland. The Romans said a few things, but can you trust them? I mean, I don't know. And then we have the myths, and then we have archaeology. So at one point, I had a T chart that said stuff I know from the notes and stuff I'm making up. And because I had to kind of meld the two. So I did that. I did all the research. I came home and I left it for 2 years. And then I just started writing using my intuitive process, which is to say, what happens now? And they basically give me the whole book. So that works really well. And yeah.
Oh, that is interesting. Like I'm trying to like wrap my head around it. You let it sit for 2 years and then you came back to it and let your intuitive process just kind of work. And I find that to be so fascinating that's how you work and all the research and stuff that you go into. I'm not a world traveler, so I'm going to live through all my world travelers here. I'm not a person you want to have on a plane. Like if there's any kind of turbulence, I'm the person that's freaking out unless I've had enough Bloody Marys, or something, or you just sedate me. I don't know what the best avenue is. So I'm going to live through you, but I have heard that it is gorgeous. So what is next for you? What are you dabbling in now?
Well, as I said, I am writing book 5. So when they come back, they time travel out of Iron Age Ireland and they just kind of land with nothing in modern day Ireland. So they've got no Visa cards, they've got no ID, they've got no phones, and like, how do we go anywhere? So that's kind of where I left them. But I'm also picking up on book 3, because in book 3 there's vampires, and because they're time traveling, this wonderful god Cernunnos at the end of To Kill a King gives Estrada a little bit of a perk, and he brings him back before they actually started with the vampires, but he's got all the foreknowledge. So now his big mission is, I'm going to go and kill all the vampires before they do all the stuff that they did in book 3. I can see Brad going, ooh.
Exactly.
Time travel is mind-boggling.
Yes, it is. Hopefully I live where I get to see that. But I know you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but can you tell everybody what you're offering this holiday season?
I am. So I said, I'm offering To Kill a King. I don't know if you can see this or not. I'm really bad at holding up books, but this is like pretty amazing. These are all tattoos. Woo, there we go. These are all hand-drawn tattoos that the characters have. And this one is To Kill a King. And that paperback is like $7 for print.
Is it on Amazon or on your website?
And $1.99 for an ebook. Yeah.
On Amazon?
On everywhere.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That way I know where to send them. Okay.
Yeah, it's everywhere. So all the other ebook channels as well as Amazon. But the paperback is on Amazon.
Perfect. Well, WL, thanks for hanging out with me and coming on the 12 days. It's always such a delight to get to talk to you, and for joining me and putting up with my crazy self and this 12 days of page turners. It's always so fascinating. So thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to come hang out with me.
And thank you.
All right, everybody. I know we went over 8 o'clock again. I know, you guys, but do you blame me? I mean, we had amazing authors with amazing holiday promotions.